Okay, welcome back, and today in part 2 of building this RC car 3-wheeler, we will be going through Fusion 360, and I'll just be giving you a couple tips on how to do stuff maybe a little bit better, and different design things that I touch on, and so we're going to be going through and designing this. It shouldn't take too long. I'm going to be speeding through a bunch of it. It's kind of boring. It's just me designing Fusion 360. But if I get to something interesting, I'll let you guys know. So we're gonna be designing this wheel, and that's nothing. We're gonna be that's my old tire hub. And then we're gonna be designing the arm and stuff like that. So let's get started. So then, with this sketch drawing, I normally use the rectangle, the lines, and stuff like that. I don't use the other things like conic curve, spline, ellipse. I generally don't use any of those. I normally stick to the basic shapes, and I draw more complex 3D images from there. And when I have multiple parts like tires, drive bars, and steering bars, stuff like that, whenever I have any kind of more like complicated parts like that, separate parts, I normally create a new design. So then I would title it like RC car 2.0 wheel, tire, drive bar, whatever I'm going to call it. That is generally how I name my stuff. That way I have multiple different files and I can just edit one tire or something like that. It kind of simplifies it down a lot, and that way building and 3D modeling your design is a lot easier for you to do, and yeah. As you can see, this is what I have this far. It is just the main frame of it. I've rounded all of the edges on it, or most of the edges, that way it looks fairly nice, and that's about it. So then I need to take some of my old RC car files and save them as something else and modify them. Like for the steering bar, I have to take that and then modify it. That way it'll fit for the longer or shorter wheelbase, and it'll be better. So I gotta find that. So as you can see here, I take my most recent modified one. So as you can see, I have a place for washers here. That way as the wheel spins, it does not wear on the plastic here. I just normally crazy glue the washers in. Then here, the bolt goes through here, and then the lock nut locks it in here. Same as on both sides. So I gotta take out a chunk in the middle here, and that way I can have a smaller wheelbase. Okay, so torque, right? What is torque? Or leverage, as the case may be here. So torque or leverage is measured in pound inches or pound feet in the US system. So here I'm just going to say this is a pound to make this simplification easier, and this, each one of these marks is an inch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches. So if we place 1 pound at 1 inch, and multiply those two together, because torque or leverage is the length away from the point you're measuring from, which right now it is this pivot point right here, times the weight. So if we have 1 pound at 1 inch, that is, multiply those, that is 1 pound inch. Then over here, do the same, and it balances out, mostly. It seems to be a little wonky sometimes. Balance is there. It's still balanced. So then if we put 3 more pounds on there, that is 3 pound inches. Now, if we wanted to counteract that and balance it out, we could take this and place it at the 3 mark, and now it is balanced. They are now exerting the same amount of torque on this pivot point, and it is now balanced out. So then, if we take and look at this as our steering arm for the RC car, you'll notice, or we'll just take this in proportion to the large arm I have. So if we take in place, let's just say we're going to exert 10 pound inches over on the end there. Now, to counteract that, the servo, let's just say, is mounted at 2 here. We need 5 of these things to be plopped on here. That one won't fit, so I'm going to put it around back. Now it is finally balanced out. 10 or 5 pounds is exerted on that servo, which will tend to strip out the servo as seen in the previous video. So let's just say, in proportion, the new steering arm is going to be oriented around what? 7? We're going to go with 7 right now. And the servo is mounted at 2. Right now that is 6 pound inches, and then if we put another one on, it'll become weighted to this side. Mainly because now that is 8 pound inches opposed to 7 pound inches. Therefore it's gonna drop this this way. But now we just balance that out. Now we are back to balanced. Okay, so that is how torque works. It is the length away from the center point, and this, it is just this pivot point right here times the weight. So I could put, brilliant, I could put 30, oh, that's 20, bob back up 30 pound inches, got pound inches right there. Then to counteract that, multiples of 40 is 5 times 6. If we go to 5, we put 3 on the front, put 3 on the back. Now it is balanced out. Yeah, it is mostly balanced out. So that is how torque works, and that is how it applies to my RC car, and that is why I have made the steering arm shorter, and it will also give us a tinier turning radius. Okay, thank you for watching my 2 cents on torque. Okay, so what I've done is I have drawn a sketch here, and I'm going to take out 35 millimeters of the arm on each side, and then I'm going to take and push them together. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There we go. Sketch or part is now finished. We can inspect that and see how long it is. So it is 180 millimeters long, opposed to my, let me measure real quick. Compared to my 250 millimeter arm last time. I might take out more and there were versions of the arm, but I think this has reduced it a fair bit now. And now we can continue on with the other parts, such as the wheels, or I might just keep the wheels the same. I do have to redesign the back tire though, because I'm using a totally different sized motor. So I have to go ahead and find that. So this was my PLA rear tire, and I 3D printed this out of PLA, and this support and this support here snapped as it was running. So that's when I then moved to a full TPU rear tire. So this is my previous rear tire, and that is for the 2810 motor. And now I have to make the inside suitable for a 3510 motor. So I'm gonna keep the height the same, but I gotta bring this inner diameter for the motor up a lot. And it's going to be fully 3D printed out of TPU, that way it can grab onto the motor and hold it nice and tight while I have it mounted on. That way I don't have to worry about any weird mounting mechanisms, and I can just slide it on and off and it holds it very tight. Okay, so I am now doing the tire, and as you can see, I've added a rounded tire shape to it, and I have now started to add the tread part to it. I'm doing this so that as it drives, it can grab onto loose dirt and other such composite particles. Okay, I believe that is it for part 2, and in part 3 we will be 3D printing and hopefully assembling and testing the 3D printed RC 3-wheeler, and then part 4, I guess you could say, it'll be kind of just a big overview of what we've done, what's happened, and how it works, how it's improved, maybe what's wrong with it. I haven't built it yet, so I wouldn't know. And yeah, that is what part 4, I guess you could say, will be. But then after that, I hope to start other projects with model airplanes and my laser cutter. That way I can show you guys how to make an air assist and other things like that. So stay tuned and be looking for my next videos. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day.